alien.
Listen,
creature.
I think that the more imaginative it is, it's the better for whoever's reading it, and the
It's-
more that they want to then look at that target.
That's true.
Right.
Because
until
I
they see what
remember
it
that
actually
now
looks like.
because
Yeah.
of what we called it. But like
everyone knows the kayak.
Everyone knows the kayak.
everyone knows the kayak. That's
Right.
true.
Talk of the town.
That's right.
Does anyone know the first woman to win the Harmon Trophy?
Oh, I should know this.
Well, I'd be happy if you told me it was Sally Ride, but
She did win.
It wasn't
Yeah.
Catherine Stinson, was it?
Nope.
Nope.
Oh, is that Alani? Do you know?
No, please tell
Oh.
us.
Lady Mary Bailey.
I would have not known that.
I would not have either if I hadn't looked it up.
The women weren't highlighted at all.
She won in 27 and 28.
Wow.
the newest, well, not quite new, there's a brand new research vessel operated by Scripps in San Diego. That is the research vessel Sally Ride. As the UNOLS fleet, operated by the Navy, has taken to naming vessels after astronauts lately.
That's cool.
Well, that's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Sally Ride won in 1983.
And she did she do her bachelor's or graduate at UCSD? She did one or the other, maybe a doctorate.
She attended Stanford for her PhD. Trying to see where she got her bachelor's. She attended Swarthmore College for 3 semesters, took physics at University of California, Los Angeles, and then entered Stanford as a junior.
Oh.
At Stanford, she earned her master's degree in 75 and her PhD in 78.
Wow.
A slight correction to my Earhart trivia. She did win again in 35.
Oh.
I was right
With-
too.
Yes. Jean Batten won the same year. So I guess they awarded 2 of them, and Jean Batten won 35, 36, and then 37.
Wow.
So
What was the last
Amelia
one
was
awarded?
32 and 35.
32 and 35,
Yeah.
yep.
They still awarding it? It's
Um,
combined now, I kind of hope.
It looks like it was taken over by the National Aeronautic Association in 98. And it's just an aeronaut award. And the last one I have record in 2015.
Huh.
Oh, Lonnie, kind of fun, slightly unrelated story.
The way you ask a question is so you just thought of it, just out of the blue.
I did actually. I was thinking about it. So, me and some friends were really curious about. So, the first graduate of UW, Margaret McCarthy. So she was the first of all, the first female to graduate UW, and also the first student.
Wow.
And so, like, the dorm that I was living in was actually named after her. And so me and some friends found out that her records and a bunch of her personal files are still in the archives. So we
I see an
also-
assignment coming up.
No. So we basically went through and started, like, looking through her old files, trying to learn more about, like, her life history. And just, like, I don't know, hearing you talk about going through library archives and doing research reminded me of that. But we were sort of able to, like, reconstruct some of her family tree, and, like, I went back and, like, updated her Wikipedia page and added in some more, like, specific dates about, like, when she moved to, like, the Northwest. It was really, really fascinating.
Well, that's wonderful. You could write the book about her.
I kind of
know?
got to give my friend Mayank, I don't know if he's listening, but props to him. Also, one other thing we learned at the time was that there was a newspaper article that was talking about how, at the time, most, like, professors believed that science and math were not as useful as Latin, which really prepared you for the rigors and trials of life,
Real world.
the real world.
How many semesters of Latin did you actually take?
0.
Latin is good for roots of languages.
Yeah.
Yes.
I did take a small Latin class in middle school, but I think I forgot
In
most
middle
of it.
school.
Yeah.
And
You
medical
started early.
terms. It's good for medical terms.
Yeah.
You need
You
to
said
know
you-
that.
you
I
took
just
a middle
decided not
school
to take it
Latin
because I
class?
figured I was never going to go there.
Latin.
Yeah.
Bunch.
Ouch.
But my father went to Jesuit schooling, so he had all the Latin one could handle, and always helpful with English roots, etc.
I taught in
Trying to
4
do-
states, and North Carolina was the only one that their high school had a Latin class.
Wow.
There's no other.
Yeah. And you could do that as your language.
Yeah.
Yes. We
A
all
lot of
had to
the-
learn Gaul is divided into 3 parts.
A lot of
Oh.
pre-med students and students who are interested in going to medical fields took that one.
I had a high school teacher who used to put a bunch of, great thinkers' phrases around the room, and some of those would invariably be in Latin. Cesus contrarum verum est, amor vincit omnia. Vincent? Is that Vincent? I don't know if there's an N in there.
I don't know.
Vincent.
Vincent.
Oh, the inscription on many buildings is in Latin.
Yeah, I think if I had to choose one of my favorite Latin phrases, hands down winner is going to be E pluribus unum. Hands down.
Yeah. Carpe diem is
Gotta keep
It's
carpet on
good
those
for,
DMs.
right for a personal mantra.
Yeah.
Looks like that's another sand ridge right in the camera view.
Yeah. I'm being a little more
Hit PC1.
conservative on my zooming now that I know that I'm putting graffiti everywhere when I do it.
Ruining our lives. What is Latin for fish? Is it
Pisces.
Okay.
Pisces?
No, try PC2.
Carpe
There we go.
Pisces?
Brian, did you take Latin at all?
Yes, of course.
Me?
Yeah.
Old school.
When I was very young, I took a little bit.
Yeah.
was required.
I don't remember any of it because I was very young. Well, I remember some small phrases, but nothing.
It didn't help much with Russian or anything like that.
Do you still speak any Russian at all?
Я говорю по-русски.
Oh.
I think that's a yes.
Немножко.
Justin, our data engineer, also speaks Russian.
Yeah, you said he spent time in Russia working on
Yeah.
a space station project.
Right.
Yeah. After high school, before college.
Wow.
There's a program where you can actually send a experiment up to the space station.
Right.
Yeah,
school
I've
or
been
high
working
school
on that
kids?
with kids.
Yeah?
CASIS, Center for the Advancement of Science in Space, so high school students can apply with their teacher and with the support of the community, really, and come up with an experiment and take it to wherever it's going to be launched, whichever, in Florida or wherever, Wallops Island in Virginia. And it's put in a cooler, it's put in a certain refrigerator place and packed into the rocket, and up it goes. And the space station, it's put in a rack and plugged in to the temperatures and so forth. We have all sorts of things up there, and it's monitored. And the results come back, and very exciting. There are cockroaches up there and worms and all sorts of things.
Yeah, they put those in those little micro containers where they just have to unclip them, different parts.
And plug it in to the rack when it's up in the station. You should do that with your school.
Yeah, I tried that with the first school or last school I was at. There's a bit of a funding hurdle.
Yeah, it's very expensive.
Yeah, they're pretty supportive of it because I don't think a school in Georgia had done it yet. But there was also a certain amount of time requirements and things like that that with our curriculum and how things were set up with our standards, we weren't able to commit to. Georgia reissued its science standards 2 years ago, and they space in the middle school is pretty significantly scaled back.
It's, you know, you have to give the kids a lot of credit. Some kids have traveled to see their experiment go up in space and then see the rocket blow up. So I worked with some kids who'd seen it blow up twice, and they had gone from, this is a school in Colorado that I was working with, and they had moved into high school, and after school got out each day they came back to the middle school because they wanted to rebuild it because they didn't want anyone over, you know, to take over their project. It was amazing. They just stuck with it. They were going to see it launch for the third time, and frankly each time it got better. They learned something in the process of building it.
That's some persistence.
Yeah. They learned a lot of life's lessons about not giving up.
Well, there is a competition.
Any of these targets, anything you're interested in?
I was looking at this one here,
Yeah.
but I don't, mainly because of this thing and the other thing, but I didn't like that. I was just looking at this one. But I think we've seen things that look exactly like that. Are we close to any of the other targets?
Negative.
No. I don't like this one over here. And then this line makes me less enthused about the one that we just saw.
So it is a bit of a unique, even if it's compressed and you take the streak out, that double, this one coming up.
This one coming up?
It's hard to say though.
We can by all means mark it. I mean, we're not.
Alligator mouth.
Doesn't look like anything in particular though.
Yeah, let's mark it. Why not?
Okay.
All right, this is target 47.
70 off to starboard.
Thank you.
Is it time? No. It was a quick 5 hours.
You all make it fast.
Yeah.
47. Is that correct?
Yes.
47. Might be nothing, but maybe a second look.
Sure.
Description.
Rennie called it alligator mouth.
Alligator mouth.
Nom 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 nom.
And then I'll just note to the side of it, field of possible targets.
Sure. Are you done with this?
Done.
Thank you very much.
See, I think my dad said he was going to be listening in today, but I don't think we've gotten any questions.
Shout
from
out
him.
to Peyton's dad.
Have we heard anything from Peyton's dad yet?
I have no comments in
No?
from Mr. Lee.
Either
Type
tagged in
something in
as
there.
Kinghua or Peyton's dad is what he said he would write.
I've had neither of those yet.
All right, Dad, if you're listening,
There's still
comment in.
10 minutes, Peyton's dad.
Yeah.
Yes,
Clock's a
you're on
ticking.
the
Come
clock.
on.
Come
And it
on.
takes like
Give a
6 minutes
deadline.
for messages, questions to actually get in.
Oh.
Heather and Tim, are you still there too?
Heather and Tim, I'm about to have internet access again, so
Ooh.
I'll check in.
Find out how Cooper's doing.
Exactly. Yep.
Who?
Puppy watch.
Her dog,
What's your dog's name?
Cooper.
Cooper.
That's our dog's name.
Oh. That's a good dog.
If you take him on a walk, do you bring
and
a
who
Cooper
else
scooper?
is named Cooper?
Do I bring my what?
Jonathan Lee with Ropos. His dog is
A
named
Cooper scooper.
Oh, a Cooper scooper.
Cooper is
kind
a
of dog
barrel
is
maker.
Cooper?
Cooper means barrel maker.
Yeah.
There's
Oh,
a pit
yes.
bull, I believe.
Our
she said.
Cooper is a Basenji
Hello.
collie
Hi.
mix.
Oh, that's the barkless dog.
Yeah.
Hey.
But even
But
though
they
it's just
talk.
like a, yeah.
He
like
talks.
I heard they're really smart.
Yeah, he is a smart dog.
Greetings
Super
to
faithful.
our Finnish viewer who's back online with us. So it's approaching about 4 p.m. our time, which means our watch is almost up. So you might start to hear some voices change. So Lonnie, how sharp is your Latin? Are you still pretty good?
No, they might be doing handoff.
Oh. So for those viewers still with us, please continue to send in those questions and we'll continue to answer them the best we can for you about our search, what we expect to find, you name it.
When we expect to find it.
That is one we don't have the answer to yet.
Anything that starts with the word when,
Yes.
we don't know.
In the future, that will be our
Yeah,
answer.
wish we knew.
Some of the wrecks you may have witnessed the Nautilus Explorer previously, we had some of the coordinates to, and it was going back to survey those areas. The Samoan Clipper is not one of those. The last time it was seen was January 11th, 1938, 81 years ago. Has not been seen by human eye since. We're hoping to change that. Had 2,300 pounds of fuel. That's incredible. I wonder if that was it filled all the way to the top.
Yeah, it's on the top
Nav,
row center.
would it be
Oh, wait.
possible
Yeah, on your
for
panel,
you
sorry.
to zoom out on
It's
where we're looking at the boat screen
PC3.
just a little bit?
On the video panel, PC3. You might not have
So,
PC3. They might turn
yeah,
the knob.
up in here.
Then hit the big all take.
Can you have the screen come down just ever so slightly, Nav? No, I mean other way. Yep. Yeah, so like down in here. So coming up basically through this way and No, it's just all of these are very, very strange rocks.
Okay, so maybe they'll come up like through
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Okay.
So to answer the
And
question,
skipping
Do
this.
another line up here.
Yeah.
On the outside, because it expands our coverage a little bit.
Yeah.
To the west, which you thought might be important.
But I
You
basically
can't
say,
process those
You
to
could
see
put
what
on
they
4,
look like?
maybe get rid of DP.
Well, I can, but it's all input right now.
yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
can't.
But I'd
All
basically
there.
say skip
Let's survey.
all of this rock crap area here.
That's plan.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That's 4. That's what was DP. Oh. PC4.
so the question that came in about will we or when we'll be looking at the targets, that is another question we cannot answer for you yet. We are, I think, just over halfway through our search area, and the total of the 20 search lines or pass over the search area that we had started with. So we still have a good bit of time. We're traveling at 1 knot. Each pass takes us ballpark 3 hours. So we still have a good bit of time before we look at those targets. And when we go back and look at those targets, there's a few things that have to happen between us finishing the search area and then our science team will be using some of their software to clean up the side scan sonar that you are looking at in channel 1 and kind of reanalyze their thoughts on what some of those targets might be and which ones might be worth investigating, and then kind of creating a priority list of which ones might be worth investigating the most first, and coming by with most likely coming by again with Argus, again still not with Hercules, to potentially kind of take a look at those dive targets from another view, because sometimes you can see things a
Nope,
bit differently.
we're definitely done looking at that screen if you wanted to move it any way you wanted to now. No, thank you.
So after that, that may help us get a better idea in terms of what those dive targets were. The camera that you're looking at is directly underneath Argus in the nadir, which is the area directly beneath Argus that is not being scanned by side scan sonar. But that's not a particularly wide field of view, so we would have to be pretty close to being directly over it in order for us to definitively see and make out. We're still anticipating whatever wreck we hopefully find would be hopefully pretty well preserved and pretty clear in terms of what it is. We're expecting to see as a high potential target or something that may have survived the section of the wings. The wings are 118 feet and 2 inches in diameter, and the one eyewitness report said that after the plane made an emergency landing off the coast of American Samoa, that there was smoke and some type of small explosion, and the wings floated for about 5 minutes or so before sinking underneath the water. So that's where we're putting a lot of our hope. We don't know what shape the rest of the plane is. Depends on the intensity and the size of that explosion, whether it was had just a hole blown into it, or whether the front and tail sections or other sections were blown away from it. But not necessarily the Hollywood type explosion that you would think of.
Hey Nav, did we extend the lines, line 1 and 2?
Yes, they have been extended.
Okay, so they're not short anymore?
Nope.
Alright, I'm not sure. Alright, that's fine. I don't know how much data we're really going to get into that really hummocky area.
Yeah, if we don't need to go all the way over there, I can just engineer turns so that we don't get Argus too close to that.
Yeah, I mean, I would. Also, I'm kind of more eager to get north, just because we haven't really seen much down here. I would maybe pull those lines back to the beginning of that knoll, or you could just do the turns there. Well,
Right.
I mean, we may as well. Yeah, you could cut it around there, and even this line, right? Because we've seen that we have to come up a lot with Argus, so it's not really, we don't really get any good data over there. And then I want to, once we finish one, we're going to be headed, we'll end that on the western end. And I was talking to Megan, we want to do like a diagonal line up, and I want to cross target 36, which is like to the northwest. And then go over from there to do one more line up the western side.
Roger that. Okay.
I can come use fingers if it's easier to point
Yeah,
out.
maybe I might have one
Yeah.
question.
Okay, hold on.
Hello everyone, this is Valeria in the communications. We have a new shift just started, so we're catching up.
Well, hello again, 4 to 8 watch.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Hello.
Doesn't seem like only 8 hours has passed.
No, it seems like it was half an hour
30
ago.
Yeah, I was just going to say 30 minutes.
We're connected.
Yeah. And all I really did besides eat breakfast and lunch was watch more sonar.
Cucumber just
I
passed.
looked at, there you go. What are we at, like 60 something now?
Oh
no, well beyond that.
We are at
Yeah?
114.
Oh,
my,
wow.
Wait, we were in the 40s at the end, or no, we hit 50 at the end of our watch.
8 to
They went
12
crazy.
went for it.
They went crazy. All right, well, that's a high count.
So now we have more cucumbers than targets.
Oh, that's sad.
Sad.
But we don't have more cucumbers than rocks.
That's true.
Well,
they're-
yeah.
We don't
we're
want to
just
count
not-
rocks.
We're just not counting those.
No.
Yeah, so geology's always going to win.
Yep.
So you were saying what you did in your break?
Oh, yeah, so I was looking at some of the sonar files we've already looked at. We've already collected with processing software. It doesn't look, it's not like the prettiest sonar because we have, we're kind of going a little bit skewed with Argus through the water, so it's not, the two channels don't line up as well as, you know, a perfect survey would, but we are getting good, decent coverage. There's not any, from what I can tell, there aren't any huge data gaps. And the high frequency, when I imported that, it does show the target slightly better. So now I'm batch importing, I just looked at a few test files, so I'm batch importing them over the course of this watch and potentially over the night, because it does take a while. And I'm going to go through everything again and just look back through all of the files all the data that we've collected so far. Probably a little bit tonight and probably tomorrow, just to make sure that there's nothing that we can see clearer that we've missed. And then of course watched it coming in other watches just in the lounge, because I do that. It's like I haven't seen enough of this waterfall, so I'm just gonna watch it some more.
Great.
But yeah, so the plan is that we have this line and then 2 lines left. We're gonna cut them a little bit short because of the really hilly terrain area that's been to the east, and then that might take quite a bit of our watch, but then after that we're going to go back over target 36, which I'll pull up for you guys to take a look at. The reason I'm targeting this one is Megan found a whole bunch in that area, and then there's this box here. I don't know if you guys can see that, right? So that's strange because squares don't happen, except in pyrite and galena. Squares don't happen in nature too often. And then we're going to do, so you remember last night we did, to get to the southern area, we did like a slightly western line going south to cover a little bit more area. We're going to duplicate that, but another 200 meters west to get just a little more coverage as we go back up and start line 16 to the north. The northern lines are exciting because they're still in quite close proximity to the reported crash location. So we do have some area to cover that's fairly close to that. So fingers crossed on that.
Cool.
And that's the plan. It'll probably take like 3 watches to do all that, or to even get up to the north, and then it'll, we've got probably maybe about 24 hours left of this to do this box, and at that point we'll have looked through all the targets again, and we'll make a decision as to whether we want to do some more target passes and maybe some camera IDs with Argus, or expand the search in some direction that we have yet to discuss. More on that later.
Yes. So what did you guys do on our break? Anything fun?
Slept for a little bit. Ate. Played on my phone. Stared at the wall.
Well, which wall? Some of them are interesting.
Sometimes you choose like back and forth. I was looking at the blueprints they had up of the
That is an interesting
of the ship.
wall.
Well, I was going to say they've got interesting stuff all over the ship. If you just picked a blank wall, that's just not being very creative.
Yeah, but no, this is as arduous as staring at a side scan can be. I think this is one of the more exciting things to be doing on board.
That's just it's just a funny statement all around.
Well, I was reading Dune, the book, and I was supposed to read it for like 30 minutes, but that got extended to 2 hours and a half.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've tried it a couple times, and I know I need to get past like the first 100 pages and then to really get into it, but I haven't managed to yet.
It's an awesome book.
I will
so
eventually.
Yeah. Highly recommended.
What's it about?
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
You can't just be like, oh, you should read this book.
Okay, I think like
Is that a sea cucumber?
another sea cucumber, yeah.
We have
No, the author
priorities in this film so much.
No, the author is just so creative in creating this
Oh, there comes
a
another
couple
one.
of planets.
Okay.
A couple planets, a religion, different languages, and a philosophy behind the scenes, but also a lot of ecology and oh, you can't ask that and eat a chocolate in front of me and pretend that I didn't see you. What?
I was gonna wait till after dinner to pass it around.
He's like, here, you talk, gobble, gobble, gobble.
He's right next to me, and he pretends that I won't see that. that is.
I wasn't trying to hide it.
Well, clearly not, because I saw you.
Dune is it's a commentary on class stratification too, isn't it?
That's an interesting
I
question.
haven't read it, so I don't know. But anyway,
I wouldn't.
the barons get rich from selling the spice, but then the rest of the people are like kind of living in the
Yeah,
slums. Is that right?
it has a lot of politics involved, and also
Yeah, it was the politics part that made me put it down.
corruption. Yeah, it's a very, very interesting book. Very interesting.
I do know the general story because I've seen there was a 1980s movie that Sting was in, of all people.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
Sting is in that?
yeah, and then I think Kyle MacLachlan played the lead, and then there was a Sci-Fi Channel movie like miniseries. The first one was with William Hurt, and then the second one, I think it was with James McAvoy, like early in his career. So it was Dune and the Children of Dune. So I do know like what it's about, but I haven't actually read the book.
Now's the time to read the book. I'm going to read it. I saw it out the other day. I didn't know it was yours, but they're doing a new Dune movie, and it's got a lot of promise. The director that's doing it is very, very good.
Yeah, I'm excited for that because he's a very visual director.
Yeah.
He did The Arrival and Blade Runner 2042.
Yeah.
Or 2049.
People say I haven't read it, but people say like there's so much to Dune, it's hard to put into a movie, and the other ones aren't very good. People who like the books don't like the movies very much, but
yeah.
Seems like if anybody's going to do a good one, it'll be
I think the same thing.
Denis Villeneuve.
Denis Villeneuve. Steve, here's your chocolate pack. Thank you. Yeah, yep, thank you.
Sea cucumber.
Oh my God, it's like the only organism down here.
And a bunch of others that we cannot see.
Oh, see that clear one? It might come back into view. I think that's another type of sea cucumber. It looks like, oh, it's not going to come back.
If that's the case, there might be like 3 of them in that shot.
But it might be, it looks like, I'm not going to pronounce this correctly, but Peniagon leander is like the clearish one. It has like tentacle type things on the top and bottom with like a yellow gut. So I think it's some of these
I think we saw
things
one
that
of
we're
those
seeing.
on the last cruise.
Cool.
So, I don't know if Samantha's listening, but we have not seen one of my favorite animals in the ocean, which is what we saw a ton of off of the California borderlands. It's a small, tiny, purplish red jelly called Vorigonema pedunculata, and it does not have a common name, so we were trying to get the common name scrubbing bubble jelly to stick. It didn't really happen. So I talked to a biologist about how do common names happen, and he said the best thing to do is that you publish observations of it and then refer to it as something, and then it kind of takes on. So I attempted that. I wrote a 2-page paper about like the depth range that we saw it at and some photos from the screen captures, and the reviewers said it was well done, except that without an actual sample, like physical sample of an individual, you can't officially identify it because there's something that you can only see like under a microscope that it has versus a different version of the species, like a different subspecies. So they said you can't publish it if you can't confirm what the species is. I was like, well, that's not a comment I can address, so it's not going to get published, but I
So
did
if
try.
we see one, are we going to try and sample it?
I don't think you would find it in this part of the world.
Gotcha.
It's
Hasn't
in the
been
Gulf
seen.
of Mexico and off of California, but I don't think.
Yeah, we're a little far away from that.
Yeah, but yeah, the scrubbing bubble jelly, we saw them all over the place in California. The other, it's not like I'm a biologist, but the other animal that we observed quite a bit there was a file-tail cat shark, and it was cool because it was down in the oxygen minimum zone in California, and it would they were swimming like slowly against the current, like fairly motionless, but their tails were moving just a little bit, with their gills flared wide open, as if they were compensating for the low oxygen, and it's the only species of shark really observed to do that, and most of them are known by trawl catches. They're not really observed in their natural habitat. So it's been 3 years, but I have been slowly working on a paper on that, which I hope will be slightly more better received. More well received, better received. I don't know, but I don't know. I'll get around to it eventually.
So out of all the targets, is the 36 the only one that you're interested in now, or is it the only one that's kind of on the way to the next line?
Oh, I totally forgot that. So I need to come talk to Nav again. There's on the way to 16, there's the 2 targets at the very end of 15, the one that had like the 3 quote-unquote propeller blades. It was 30 and 31. And then the other one that had like pipe-looking right angle things. So before we start line 16, I want to go over those as well. I didn't write that on my to-do list.
When we target objects, we have the position of those, right? So it's easy to find them again.
Yeah, so we do have the USBL positions, and we're going to have to, whenever we do want to, try to get a visual, whether it's with Herc or just with Argus, on any of these targets, I'm going to work with Nav to, we have the targets that we've dropped in HiPAC, but we also have the points that are from the side scan data set, and I want to sort of correlate those because the USBL is a bit wonky, but we're also not quite going parallel to the lines with the Argus sitting out the acoustic signals directly perpendicular because it's kind of kiting around. So it may not be a perfect X marks the spot type drop down on the target. So we're gonna have I want to put in both points into Nav when we decide on a target to dive on, so we have kind of an idea of what the error could be.
Okay. Sounds good. We have a question about whether we can use night vision technology underwater.
Yeah, sorry, you're a bit quiet. If you can use what?
Night vision technology.
I don't know about anybody using actual night vision technology, but they're called RED cameras. They're low light cameras, and I know 2 colleagues of mine, Dave Gruber at the Natural History Museum in New York and Brendan Phillips at University of Rhode Island, have been using low light cameras on coral reefs to look at bioluminescence. So it's not really night vision technology per se, but they do use very low light cameras for that sort of purpose. I think some of that stuff was on an episode of Shark Week at one point.
Yeah, I've worked with Brennan and his camera out here. I think it was
cool.
last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
A low light one?
Yeah, the low
cool,
light one, yeah. So we'd get around and get situated, turn off all the lights.
Dave had one. I didn't know Brennan did, but I haven't worked with him in a couple of years, so it's cool that he had one.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of night vision as well is, night vision cameras are thermal cameras.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So that would be definitely difficult for searching for a wreck. I don't know how well it would do with biology if you were looking for fish, if their blood is any different temperature.
Yeah, they're not really warm-blooded, so I don't know if they would have any sort of different signal.
Yep.
I expect that everything down here is about the same temperature.
Yep.
Except Argus.
Right.
But I was wondering about that actually. Been searching for seeps and stuff, hydrothermal.
Oh yeah, I suppose if you're looking for hydrothermal stuff, it could work. Yeah. But there's a lot of other indicators too. I mean, oftentimes they just move the ROV through the water column and find a spike in the temperature sensor on the ROV, and they sniff them out that way. $121.
So, Mike, we know that the all the research and planning for this expedition has taken half a decade, 5 years. When in that time did you get involved with it?
So I was, Russ and Jim Delgado put the white paper together for this, for the Eastern Pacific workshop that OET and NOAA co-sponsored in San Francisco in 2014. And I was with OET at the time, and so I was at that conference. I led the archaeology group discussion, so I was aware of it and involved at that point. But about a little over a year ago, Russ asked us to sort of, cost out what would it take to get deep water resources to American Samoa to do the work. And at the time, we didn't know what Nautilus's schedule was going to be, so I was sourcing out different ships and different ROVs and different AUVs and different sonars and all sorts of different equipment and tools for the job, and getting different cost estimates for that. And then Dr. Ballard and Jim talked, and it turned out that they were going to be doing an expedition, which I believe is the next one, in American Samoan waters. So it was kind of like so one of the big expenses in working in the Pacific is, if there's not a ship that's equipped right in the area, paying for a ship to transit there from Guam or Hawaii or some other island is very expensive, because it's so far to go. If you have to pay for a ship to transit from like Italy to Spain, it's like a day. It's not that big of a deal. But here it takes a long time, as you guys who have been on board for the last transit know. So the fact that Nautilus, which is already equipped with deep sea capacity, was going to be in the area, things kind of fell into place quite quickly. So I've been directly working on this for a little bit over a year, but I was obviously well aware of it back 5 years ago.
What is the maximum depth of Argus?
Argus can go down to, I think it's rated to
6,000.
6,000, yeah.
We just don't have the cable for it right now.
But I heard that there's a cable being built, right? Or constructed for the ship, because Little Herc is rated now to 6,000 meters as well.
Yeah, I think that's the
I've
case.
heard
Yeah.
the rumor.
Yeah.
And what is Little Herc?
Little Herc is a smaller version of Herc. No, Little Herc actually was built first, and I believe it was the ROV that went down to Titanic in 2004. And it's been used. It was kind of a sort of mobile system. They used it a bit off of URI's ship Endeavour, and then Okeanos Explorer used it for quite a while before they built their Deep Discoverer, or D2 ROV. And then it had been kind of sitting at the Inner Space Center for a few years as a display, and then OET decided to upgrade it and make it, like, change some of the foam for the flotation and kind of reconfigure it for 6,000 meter capacity in preparation for getting the traction winch and tackling some of the deeper waters in the Pacific. But it is a smaller version of Herc, basically.
Sounds cute.
Just without like sampling capabilities, right?
Yeah, it's more of an eye in the sky than it is a workhorse.
So does it still have arms, or is it just
no arms?
No arms. No. It's actually on the back deck under the tarp.
Is that what's in the box?
No, that's it's the
brown tarp.
The brown tarp that's kind of next to the stairs.
Do you guys have multi-view in the back row? On the top screen?
No, we have high pack.
Yeah, we have high pack up there.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure why.
Do you want something else up there?
What do you want?
I was just going to...
No.
Okay.
I mean, multi-screen is somewhat useful. We have high pack on these screens, so I'm not really looking up there for that. There we go.
In number 6.
6.
It's Little
Oh
Herc.
yeah, there you go. Yep, that's Little Herc.
Is that name already official?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if you look over at the dive, the whiteboard over there that has each dive for each ROV, see Little Herc's next dive is LH002. That means it's done one dive.
Oh, it's a baby.
It's a
Well,
baby.
one dive since I think it was
Since it was
Yeah.
refurbished.
Yeah, I don't know. If I'm not sure they even numbered dives that when it was used last, because I've never used it.
Was that off of Nautilus that it dove? Or
No, it's never.
Okay.
No, it's never dove off Nautilus. I assume Okeanos has their own numbering system, so it probably used whatever those numbers were.
Well, was its first dive off Nautilus?
Yeah, I think it was.
Oh,
like
yeah, that's the
Yeah, a shakedown dive, I think.
Right.
Yeah, the shake. Yeah.
Okay.
But it hadn't. I don't believe it had worked aboard Nautilus before that.
Right.
So you were saying it was built before Herc was?
Yeah.
So
I think so.
Why is this Little Herc and Herc?
I think Herc was also in development.
Okay. Because I was wondering, like, if Herc came after, why isn't that Big Herc?
Yeah.
It's that or the name just came after, but
I do think having a Little Herc sounds better than having a Big Herc.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen the controls for it, but I'm told it's controlled by an Xbox controller.
That's great. It's probably the best thing to use. A lot of ROVs are controlled by game sort of consoles. We have a very small one by OpenROV that just uses a Android gaming device, like right off the shelf. Just has an app that you download and it can run the ROV right there. You can do it off your phone too if you wanted.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I have an iPhone though, so it wouldn't work.
it's great until your battery dies.
Yeah. It's small enough though that you can just pull it up by the tether.
See cute.
Until somebody's like tries to WhatsApp you during
Yeah.
during a dive.
Yeah, on one of the other ships I was on, someone brought out a drone, like a flying drone, and the battery started to die, and so they hit the go home button. The problem was the last place they had set home was their house, and they were out in the middle of the ocean, and it just flew off into the distance to die.
Oh no.
I don't think that's how that works, though. I don't think you set a home like.
Yeah,
it was
it
like
is. Yeah,
it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
When I was out at Bikini Atoll, they had drones, and one problem is you don't want to set it a home location while the boat's moving, because then it'll go splash in the ocean, because your boat's no longer there. And then they had one, and it was coming back, and you have to be pretty careful when you're like getting it. It's hovering, and you're about to catch it, and they just like missed it, and it went over.